a video that came out a couple of years ago, or not a couple years ago. I think like a couple of days ago. Art style beyond technique. Bengus, the legendary Capcom artist.
Bengus is one of the most well-known fighting games.
Yes, yes. All right. So this came out 3 days ago. I want to watch this video. 11 minutes long. If you guys don't know, one of my biggest inspirations as an artist is like looking into a lot of Capcom art. There's a lot of artists that work with Capcom. They did amazing works, amazing details, amazing promo art. Yeah, let's get into it.
Game artist with a ton of iconic Street Fighter illustrations. There's no doubt that Bengus is responsible for many of the visual aesthetics of the Capcom fighting games. However, the key element that makes him stand out among his peers is that his art style goes far beyond technique alone. When we break down and analyze Bengus' illustrations, it is clear that he doesn't have one particular art style. The thing is, he can switch.
Bro, he could do so many freaking styles, man. He is the GOAT. He is a one of like, oh my god, I'm very jealous of how many styles he can do, man. He could do so many art styles like quickly. It's like
between them all. Over the years, he went from traditional to embracing digital art, evolving his works into the more modern anime styles.
Yep. Throughout the
Note
years.
that the overall art direction of each game is quite specific, where he and his peers all have to adhere to.
Yeah, like what they're going for, like, okay, we're going for this art style instead of this one. Yeah, that's another thing why, yeah.
Nonetheless, there are some tropes that do reoccur, but it's more gesture and intent based than technique alone. But I have to admit, it's a blast to analyze. Before we dive into that rabbit hole, it's important to mention that Capcom had an internal art guide since the 90s. This guide contains specific design rules that their new internal artists had to follow when depicting characters.
Oh yeah.
For those interested, this Street Fighter character design art book includes some pages from this guide. It describes concepts such as the need for in-game sprites to have visual cues that are clear enough for players to react to in split-second decisions. This means that the art often features exaggerated muscles, hands, feet and limbs in all fighters.
Yeah. Hands,
also,
feet,
certain characters have specific personality restrictions to keep them in check with the overall narrative. Other side characters like Zangief and Bengus, his favorite.
Yeah, and then and you know what the funny thing is too? Sengi's portrait on almost every time he came out on like on a fighting game, how like they did like a meme before memes were a thing when Sengi's face was like the portrait with like his eyeball coming out. It got so crazy, then blood started coming out. It was so funny, man. Sengi's let's see, headshot portrait. Yeah, so it started going from like there you go. So it started going from like not that crazy to like the full on crazy. So like stuff like that, right? Like crazy face, like crazy, more crazy. Like that one's regular. That one's regular-ish, right? But yeah, so it got to a point where it got so crazy. They did this on the Alpha series, where like he did the face so hard that blood started coming out. Oh wait, hold on. It's blocking. Hold on. Let me move the video. Yeah, you see like the blood's coming out. But yeah, it was they did it like this, right? Like crazy faces of him, crazy faces, in a bunch of fighting games, and yeah. So then eventually it just got to a point where just blood starts coming out of him. It's a little lore. If anybody cares, But all right. Let's get back to the video.
Favorite character, Sakura, are a bit more easygoing. When we purely focus on his art style, it all depends on the game project he's working on. Simply put, Bengus is involved with most of them in one way or another. And on first glance, he doesn't seem to have a single style that sticks around like almost all.
Yeah, at first glance, when we look at it, yeah, it's a lot of like every artist has their habits of the way they do certain things, shading, detail, some type of line work. Like he has some like habits that will translate to other places. Akira Toriyama had it when he did like traditional to digital art, that kind of stuff. They're still like
older artists.
they're still there.
To quote him, If I don't quite grasp something, I won't hesitate to look it up. But I tend to not look at reference images while I draw. For sure, Bengus is the one who set the tone for many fighting games. However, Capcom seldom discloses which in-house artist is exactly responsible for the main art style. For example, Bengus started with the Alpha series with Ikano and Daichan. But Edion joined in Alpha 2. That said, I think Bengus' Street Fighter Alpha works are from another world. I just love the shonen anime style with a ton of energy.
Oh,
The Alpha series had to stand out from its competitors, and that's why style was one of the keywords during development.
You know, the competitors actually was Capcom still, by the way. Because when the Alpha series, I believe that's when Darkstalker was out too. They still have Street Fighter 2 as well. They're still building that up. But yeah, there were at that time, holy hell, dude, there's so many fighting games coming out at the time, or Capcom was pulling out a lot of fighting games too as well.
These sprites were used so many times in spin-off games as well. And Bengus was asked to make the promotional works for them, because his art translates so well into the in-game graphics. With that said, what are the recurring elements in his art style? Well, I'll be frank. On the technical side, he switches so much that there's not a lot he reuses to account for all characters. Thus, take the following with a grain of salt, but he draws the eyes in a square-like shape, with open endings to the sides. Also, he tends to be very specific on how to draw the protagonist versus the more antagonist characters. With sometimes even pure white eyes of rage, mystique and authority, which is a trope we actually see in a lot of Western art. For the rest, his facial features totally depends on the game. He tends to be a fan of defined noses, with his more recent styles.
Yeah, actually, I have a way I do noses now. It's weird. It doesn't really fit everything yet, but I'm figuring out an art style now with like when I do human characters, because I'm very new to human characters. But I'm finally like finding a way like okay, I can finally do it. Like I can finally translate it pretty well of what I want to bring out with my art style and characters and stuff like that. Yeah. So let's see, like something like this, pretty much, like the square looking kind of thing. I've been doing that. Like no matter what, I was trying to find a way to do it. For some reason, like all the nose are up. It's like it's a weird quirk that I just like doing. Obviously, I know it does not fit like every single angle, but it's just something that I like doing often, even if it's like on a side angle and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's just my thing. It's just a weird art habit.
Showing stronger jawlines compared to what he did in the past. Sounds a bit fake. I agree. Here's the kicker though. In truth, his style is more character dependent than anything else. What do I mean by this? How he draws the details of.
I think what really makes it like his art style really pop out like different art style is the color scheme and the way he shades the characters. Right? You see like, oh, this one has like a one shader for the most part. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of shades. This one has 1, 2, and 3, and it's more muted colors than doing with this one, but a little bit bright. And then this one right here, it's like one shading or like maybe a 2 right there with like heavy, but it's mostly 1. So you see like that style, like you could really like change the style because color and shading really will help a design come out looking different, even if you're doing the same art style pretty much. Like color, the way you shade in color is really helps out a lot, especially if you want to do something different with it.
Ryu and different styles are generally the same. This counts for all his characters. To me, this is extremely cool. Ryu and Ken have the same thick eyebrows with sharp edges no matter the aesthetic of the style. Akuma's nose and facial proportions are always broad. The expressive chin and lips of Sagat and the funny expression of Zangief are always present. From here we can dissect way more into his art style. Bengus really wants to show the visual cues and character personality through his art, no matter the technical style of it. It's no wonder that the art director asked him to do a lot of story ending screens and panels. His gestures are spot on. Some are very telling, others are a bit weird, but with one picture alone we have a good gist of what's going on. At least, Yeah, nice.
For the most part, yeah.
In case of an enemy, Bengus' character ratios are pretty normal for fighting games. However, he tends to add a tuft of steroids to the mix.
Yeah.
Like I said before, his art is a perfect translation to the in-game graphics, using more roundish curves, and generally goes for clean and polished line art in his final concept works. Like most pros, his rough line art is quite sketchy, and I think it looks
Which
really
is
nice
awesome.
overall.
Even the sketches.
Some of his art clearly show how he likes to emphasize the entire gesture of a character. Indeed, that's what I think is the key definition of his style. He captures the essence of characters through expression and body language. And no, he doesn't do it exactly like Kina Nishimura either, who, on herself, is a visual storyteller on a different level. Bengus does it with contrasting silhouettes, and I think it's something we all can learn from. Ryu and Ken are the best duo to explain this.
Yeah.
We all know they are rivals, yet best friends, and they show this in their visual appearance. That's just character design, similar yet different. However, Bengus emphasizes their differences in each game he works on. Ryu is the lone warrior who seeks strength through discipline and hard work. Ken is the outgoing, affluent fighter who draws his strength from his loved ones. Bengus deliberately contrasts their body language in each installment.
Like fun and stuff.
Showcasing different personalities and gestures that align with their expected traits. All the while keeping the Shoto wits in place. And there's many of these type examples as well. He loves the rivalry and friendship aspect of his duo.
Classic, dude.
It's not just Ryu and Ken either. Bengus explores the dynamics of all characters' relationships, especially those with strong connections. It's another level of art that makes us more relatable to the character's mindset. It doesn't matter which character we look at, and we all can probably get a good gist of who they are and what they stand for. In this case, I'm also talking about the way he does expressions. All fighting game artists have their own take on the characters. This means, despite that they all adhere to similar personality rules, it's their job that we as observer connect to these characters on a similar level. But do all pros emphasize gesture? Not really. Just for fun, this is how an RPG character designer, Tetsuya Nomura, draws the Final Fantasy Dissidia fighting game characters.
Super cool.
Cool, anime styled and whatnot.
Yeah, hey,
Their gestures all look similar and plain, stiff even. Before you comment, I'm not shitting on Nomura at all. Just showing the difference in intent and efforts. I mean, it could be way worse.
That's
After
not
reading
bad,
a couple of transcripts, it's clear that Bengus is a very shy person. He actually noted that he finds it nerve-wracking to do interviews at all. He did share some interesting stuff though. To quote him, "Up until junior high school, copying anime and manga pictures was practically all I did. But once I hit high..."
I'm telling you, that's what when new artists want to get into art, guys, that's what everybody should get into. It's just doing art that you like. Don't go too hard right away with super detail. Just do the characters you like. Understand how they create it or like how they place the character, and then from there you can start creating your own stuff. But
high school,
don't take a while.
I didn't really draw much at all.
Depends.
I read that he mainly copied Matsumoto and Akira Toriyama's illustrations back in the day.
There you go.
And he said he likes the artists Go Nagai and Sakura Momoko. A quote from his peer in a Capcom team interview. He was at a point when he wasn't even familiar with paints, let alone Liquitex. On the contrary, it might be better for one to come in without any prior knowledge.
I want to get into watercolor, guys.
When speaking of art tools, Bengus didn't tell much about it. Most of what I could find in his personal comments is that he used Copic markers, Liquitex, and acrylic gouache. But he did know that he used to do his art traditional, but he was way more interested in digital art. Overall, I think that when Bengus sees an art style, he absorbs it like a sponge. And he takes whatever art detail he finds interesting or key and creates something
He
new
studies
entirely.
what?
He mentioned that he is a perfectionist. He wants to make art without feeling the need to improve it further. Actually, some of his specific art comments are his regrets of not changing certain expressions. While in contrast, Kina Nishimura regrets the technical side of her works. In my eyes, I think Bengus is testing specific effects and style concepts he sees in other artists while doing promotional art. And I might miss the mark on this, but I just noticed that so many of his art contain elements he didn't use somewhere else. One thing that struck me is that most of his group pictures tends to vibe more towards movie-style posters. However,
Oh
when he was
yeah.
asked which particular aspect of his
What the
job
group
was the
photos?
toughest, he said, "Nothing in particular, but actually
Oh man. So this is where I want to get at, and this is what I'm working towards right now, is to make Prochet style, not Prochet style, make like big poster designs of like a bunch of characters. I kind of already did that earlier this year, since I got back doing art again since my accident. But I really want to start creating more of them. And that's why I'm also working on like environmental art now too, as well, because I want to get better at doing that too, as well.
drawing the
I'm studying a
pictures is
lot
the
right now.
most enjoyable part for me." To me, it confirms once again that those who love the process more than the reward have found the unbeatable Ikigai formula of life. I'm light novel author GP Films, and if you want some serious art style inspiration,
Yeah, like I said, guys, if you guys want to get inspired by art style or characters or designs, I recommend Capcom in general. Just look at Capcom artwork in general. You can look at comic book stuff too, but it's like there's so many artists that worked on Capcom, but like a one specific character, right? And there's I don't think there's a lot of art books that are like of like Marvel art books as much that I remember compared to like what like Capcom and stuff. Because I believe they have a couple art books out for Capcom. Let me see. Marvel. I mean, Alex Ross is the good one. Don't get me wrong. Alex Ross will be a good one. You guys want to get inspired. Let's see. Marvel manga tribute hardcover. No, it's a manga tribute. But honestly, it really depends what you're looking for. Really. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's the Marvel, the art of David Mack, which is a good one. That one's a good one. He does like more like a watercolor ish kind of style. All depends. All depends what you're looking for, really. But I would say like if you guys want more like a general sense, Capcom, like characters and stuff like that. I recommend Capcom. If anything, Marvels are good. Like they have good designs. Don't get me wrong. They have good designs. And honestly, maybe I'm very ignorant about finding like art books of Marvel. Maybe I should look into it in the future. Honestly, 'cause I never see them. Maybe obviously maybe because I never looked into them as much. I have some. I have like their hip hop cover volume one art book, but I just don't remember seeing like art book just like what do you call it? Just art book based on just Marvel in general. Because there's always like Marvel's Capcom. There's Capcom art books. I just never seen an actual Marvel art book. There is this one a manga tribute one, which looks interesting. I ain't gonna lie. It's only $20 too. Look at this. Looks interesting. Oh, that's very cool. Honestly, I may get this book in the future. Huh. Did, how long ago this came out? When did this came out? Japanese. Oh, Japanese artist did all these art. Oh, so it was a collab with Japanese art. Oh, that makes sense. When did that came out though? Oh, it came out last year. No wonder I didn't know about it. It just came out not too long ago. Honestly, guys, I may buy this. It's only $20. I may buy this. Yeah, I'll just sell more of my comics. Bengus is a fighting game artist. Love his and Kinyu Nishimura works. Yes. I should ever appreciate his work on Dollstalker series. He just drawn Morgan so well. Oh yes, he does. Yes, he does. I love Bengus. Can respect his ability to adapt with the times, but he did it in the '90s. Is what we all remember him for. Legendary. Yeah, he is very good, like adapting with the times for sure. Just like he's very good, but he still sticks with what he does. Like there's still some like quirks that he does that he likes and continue doing. But it is good to like adapt with the times, right? Like what's going on, like to a certain extent, right? Obviously, like mine fits with the times, I think, because the graffiti art is just almost timeless. It just like evolves with the times, I think. My personal opinion, I could be wrong, but I think it works a lot well. But again, I'm still in the tradition of like changing up things up, you know. But yeah.
Just check out
Yeah, good video, good video. I enjoyed that video a lot. Like I said, I love Capcom artwork, man.